Welcome back to Mirror Readings. I'm Molly, and we're talking about Gene Key 62, which has the shadow of intellect, the gift of precision, and the city of impeccability. If you need help unpacking your gene keys and you want to get a reading from me, please visit my website, mirrorreadings.com, and subscribe to this channel to save 15%. Okay, so this shadow of intellect. Intellect is not a bad thing in and of itself, but when we become overly reliant on it, it can get us in trouble. Manipulating knowledge for the sake of being right is not the same as understanding. And it's one thing for us to know that, like, intellectually. It's another thing for us to put it in practice, because in the shadow of intellect, our ego is running the show. And our ego wants to be right pretty much at all costs. So this 60-second shadow is associated with the left brain, or our masculine side. And we live in a patriarchal world. I think we can all agree that an over-dominated masculine is not good for us as individuals or as a planet, okay? So our left brain, that's our rational mind, and it's overdeveloped. It represses the right brain, which is the feminine brain, and that's also the side of our brain that channels higher dimensions. It's where our creativity lives. We are nothing without the right brain, and yet we need the left brain, the intellect, to process language, okay? To help us actually formulate what's going on in here and share it with others. We need both, right? But in the shadow of intellect, the left brain, masculine side is dominating. The shadow of intellect can only see dualism. And yes, we definitely live in the plane of duality down here on Earth. Male, female, light, dark, good, evil, blah, blah, blah. But at these higher frequencies of consciousness, duality disappears. The divine feminine doesn't perceive duality. It perceives holistically, all right? Once we start perceiving difference, we're creating separation. And that is what the masculine does, okay? And at the shadow frequency of intellect, we're kind of trapped in this logical left brain loop of what should be happening or what our relationship should be to it. So intellect is rooted in how we use language, whether we're using it to be understood or to manipulate others into thinking we're right or cool or like worthy somehow. So when repressed, this shadow makes us, let's see here, whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh God, when repressed, this shadow makes us obsessive around extraneous details. You know somebody like that, right? Who just like is so anal about every little thing, even if it doesn't matter. Maybe you're like that. When reactive, this shadow of intellect will make us nitpicky in an aggressive way. And I'm sure you know people like that too. Spoiler, I can be like that. Hey Rex, can you settle down? Yeah, see, I'm nitpicking the dog walking around like while I'm filming. Told you, that was 100% organic. All right, so how do we get on the on-ramp to the gift of precision? We're able to think precisely, Rex! Whew, by cultivating humility, which I am doing in this moment. Cultivating humility is the on-ramp to precision, and we want to get into precise thinking because precision knows what to put focus on and what to turn away from. And this is essential in a modern world where we're constantly bombarded with shit. I mean, if you turn off social media for like even like a month, you'll realize that we're constantly being tricked into caring about shit that we don't actually care about. And I'm someone who thinks caring is cool, but for real, like the loudest voices are the ones that get heard. And I feel like we're constantly being inundated with people who are speaking not to be understood, but to be heard louder than the rest. Rex, come here, buddy. Okay, this is for the best, I think. So we can immediately start cultivating humility by realizing that we don't know anything. Our limited human perspective means that we basically have no idea what's truly going on, and our intellect is really only like rationalizing and making up stories to a certain extent to fill in the blanks of what we don't understand, which is a lot. So precise thinking starts with realizing that we know nothing, right? Precision happens when there is balance between our hearts and minds. That's also a representation for balance between the left and right brain. we can't really think clearly if we're only reliant on the intellect, right? If we're only reliant on facts, all right? Particularly if we see facts as truth, they are not the same thing, okay? We also need our feminine brain. We need our creative side. We need the side of us that's connected to divine source, and we need those to work together to achieve precision. And I want to read you exactly what this looks like, because I do think there's some macro themes here that have to do with our ascension process relating to male and female energies coming together to balance. All right, so the masculine principle of intellect moves into service of the heart, the intuitive, trusting feminine at this gift frequency. The feminine receives natural intelligence and transmits it in an inspiring way. Ooh, I love receiving natural intelligence and transmitting it in an inspiring way. This is a gift of extraordinary communication that overcomes our overthinking and false perceptions and brings us out of Maya, or the illusion. To see the Maya is to step through it, because the real world is nature. Then there's the false world that we've created on top of the nature, right? I mean, we're living in it literally right this minute. We can try to keep dominating nature as a species, but it's not going to work out. And our DNA is mutating away from those tendencies anyway. So hopefully in our lifetime, everybody just chills out, because new DNA unlocks that makes us want to take care of each other and ourselves and the planet rather than trying to dominate it. Love cuts through the Maya, all right? And within this illusion, we can see that the only sure thing is transformation. It's change. So to align our own transformation with natural cycles, to start resonating with the natural world instead of the false world built on top of it, I mean, we can do that just by taking our shoes off and putting our feet on some grass. We are on our way to the city of impeccability. Energy follows thoughts. And when we are precise in our thinking and ultimately in our words and deeds, this leads to precise living. And this is one of those cities that is actually more accessible than the rest, because it involves living in the heart. And in meditation, we can literally move our seat of consciousness from our minds into our heart, and we're creating the pathway that's going to ultimately bring us into the city of impeccability. Impeccability is both tracking and facilitating harmony. And I thought that was such an interesting feature, that this city is looking for harmony, and it's looking for opportunities to create harmony where it doesn't exist. This relationship with harmony describes impeccable behavior. And as I said just a moment ago, impeccable behavior comes from impeccable thinking, all right? So the Gene Keys defines impeccable thinking as authentic thinking, authentic presence, all right? There is no self-judgment at the Siddhic levels. We are enlightened beings that are still having a human experience. Impeccability is integrated. The concept that presents in Christianity as the Holy Trinity fully merged into the one at the levels of this city is what this represents. Our soul's history across all of our lives integrate. We're free to be ourselves completely because we appreciate the beauty of our mistakes with compassion, and thus our lives are impeccable. Can you imagine? I don't know about you, but I'm going to keep manually moving my seat of consciousness down into my heart, because I would love to reach a level of my consciousness where I can look back at my own mistakes with compassion. Like, what a dream. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Molly. You're watching Mirror Readings. And if you want to get a Gene Keys reading from me, please visit my website, mirrorreadings.com.